Yo, what is the deal, everybody? What is the deal? Welcome to another Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm your man, Wasted Talent. Salute to everybody out there in the chat. Salute to everybody on Twitter. Salute to everybody on YouTube. We have a good one for you. We're starting 10 minutes early. I had it set up for 5:10 so that the YouTube notification probably doesn't go out. But you guys know how we do. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Get wasted with your brother, wasted. Share this thing out. We have the illustrious and praiseworthy Q Myers from Locked On Raiders podcast, and I mean everything Raiders. I mean, so this is going to be a splendiferous occasion. So listen, guys, you know how I always do. Let's start this podcast. Yeah. All right, y'all. It's time. We're going to bring them on up. Salute to our man Q, man. How are you, my brother?
Man, fantastic, man. How you doing? I'm glad we can make this happen, man. Make it work.
Yeah, nah, definitely. I mean, you know, this has been a long time coming, man. I've always wanted to really pick your brain, especially with this season with Pete Carroll and the gang coming in, bringing a new culture in. You know, you've been around this organization for a very, very long time. Is there anything since they've been in that's been kind of different to you, that sticks out, that can give Raider fans some hope based off of what you've seen so far? I know it's been a rough season with 1-3.
Yeah,
but is there anything?
I think it's just the spirit, to be honest with you. I think the spirit and the energy around the building is what's really noticed, what stands out to me. Walking around, talking to some of the players, they still have, pep in their step. They're still fired up. They're shooting hoops in the indoor facility when we're talking to Coach Carroll and the other coaches. They're having that competitive feel. And all the players to a T have told me that, when this guy doesn't have a bad day, I sure can't have a bad day. So they're all kind of following the lead of Pete Carroll, but none of them seem to, even though the season hasn't gone the way that anyone wanted it to go so far, none of them have seemed like they're tailing off or they're starting to hold their heads down and say, oh, same old Raiders, same old, here we go again. It's like, and that's one of the things that I tried to ask Coach Carroll about the other day is, how do you get those players not to get into that mindset? And he said it's not an option, right? There's no option to do that. You have to be 10 toes down and you have to be ready to roll. So it seems like that's what it is. It still feels like it's a very competitive nature building. Like everyone still believes that they're trending in the right direction. Max told us that after the game against the Bears. We're so close. We're so close. We're so close. So he's still in. And as long as your leaders are still in, I think everything is good. But obviously, as you know, man, it didn't take a genius to know. You have to start getting some W's to start really building that confidence. And it could start this week, but it's going to be some tough sledding.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, the Raiders are 1-3, and we're going into a situation where they're road dogs by almost a touchdown. Daniel Jones has been playing out of his mind. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor has routinely killed the Raiders since he's been in the National Football League. Let's make no mistake about it, right? So now we have a situation where we know that Colton Miller is going to be gone for the foreseeable future. Yeah. We kind of got word today about Brock Bowers. Now, Brock Bowers has been hurt since week 1. I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on how they handled that situation, because I was always under the estimation that if there's anything with a knee with a player that's that significant, I would have preferred for the Raiders to sit him, right? Yeah. And now it's looking like they're going to have to, because it hasn't gotten any better. I mean, what do you make of the way that they went about the whole Brock situation?
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought that it would have made more sense to sit him down early, and so it didn't get worse. But it's hard to tell Alpha that they can't go. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell one of those guys that wants to go, and Brock wanted to go back into the game against the Patriots, right? Even when he was banged up originally, he wanted to get back into the game. Like, that's just who he is. He's similar to Max, where they don't want to miss any time. And so he's been trying to give it a go. He has the knee brace on. He told us in the locker room, before he even got back onto the field, he just said that he wasn't very comfortable with the knee brace on. What stood out to me the most, though, Wasted, is the fact that when he practiced on Wednesday in a limited capacity, and then also on Thursday and Friday, he didn't practice, I'm thinking, okay, hold on. That's
Yeah,
trending in the wrong direction. That's not the
right.
direction that you wanted to go. And so I know Pete Carroll said on Friday that he felt like he was still going to play. It seems like he's not going to give it a go. I see all the reports that are out there now saying that most likely he's going to miss the game, and that's unfortunate because Big Mike is out. Right. I mean, we know that
Yeah,
he was ruled out earlier today because of the concussion, which is very concerning. Right. I mean, we talk about Brock and how concerning that is. Look, JPJ came back from a concussion in a week. Right. All of a sudden, Mike's been out now for this. He's going to miss 2 games now because of the concussion. So that's to me, that really bothers me, is like, how long is he going to be out with this concussion? So
man.
that, I mean, that's something that you really have to worry about, especially knowing that he had some personal issues last year. And I don't know what those personal issues are, but I just kind of start to think like, man, this guy has, every time he feels like he has a chance to make a mark and make a name for himself, something gets in the way. Like the first year, Josh McDaniels wouldn't use him very much, right? It wouldn't go to him very much. Then year 2, he has to step away for the personal issues. And then now this year 3, everyone loves him. Chip Kelly loves him. This coaching staff loves him. They went to him all training camp, all preseason. They were so into what Big Mike was doing. And then all of a sudden he goes down with the concussion, and now he's starting to miss time. And is he going to be out for a while? Like, it's unfortunate for him because I know how talented he is, and it just seems like he never gets a chance to show it.
Yeah, he can't ever build any momentum
Yeah.
off when he gets to first base. He's not able to go to second and third and home, and it's just it's heartbreaking. And when I saw Big Mike go down,
Yeah.
I knew that it was going to be longer than a week. I mean, he looked lifeless.
He looked bad.
It was frightening when he went down, to
Yeah.
be quite honest with you.
Yep.
And I expect him to be out even longer than this, to be honest with you. That's just from my estimation.
Yeah.
But with that, they're bringing in guys from from the practice squad, and someone is going to have to get those targets. Someone's going to have to kind of step into that role and kind of try to get somewhere close to that production. And to me, that's Jack Best, right? Like Jack Best is a guy that has played tight end, right? And I don't expect for him to play tight end, but I expect for the Raiders to use him in a way where he's getting some of those underneath routes that a tight end might get. Because to me, when I saw Jack Best, I look at him like a bigger Hunter Renfrow, that kind of underneath possession receiver that can kind of stretch things. I'm hoping that the Raiders are able to get Best some targets, man, probably 10, 11 targets, because he's caught everything that's been thrown at him pretty much. He's very sure-handed, strong, and he's a good blocker. So, hopefully he can come in and kind of shine. I wanted to ask you, you brought up Jackson Powers Johnson. What did you make of the whole thing about him competing? Because now I'm starting to put the pieces together right now. The whole him playing center as opposed to playing guard, that's not something that really surprised me, because the previous regime felt the exact same way about his skill set, right? He kind of had to fight to play center, right? But and his body is more suited to be a guard, if we're being honest, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But the whole thing about him being the only one that has to compete, I kind of feel like now that they were kind of just trying to motivate him and put him in his place a little bit, just based off of some of the stuff Chip Kelly was saying yesterday. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a guy that hasn't been consistent. That's one of the biggest things that they're looking for from him, is consistency. And based off of what Chip Kelly said, as you said, I mean, he said it to the world. He didn't say it to me in private. He didn't say it to anyone in private. He said it out there. JPJ's head's big enough already, right? And so, I mean, he said that while he was talking to the media. So, I think that they do want to humble him a little bit, and everyone's singing his praises and talking about how good he is. And I think they just are looking for that consistency, that humble, that just go out there and get to work. And look, the bottom line, and I think that it's reality. We all, I mean, again, we don't have to be coaches to know how good he is or what he brings to the table. And I think we all saw the difference when he was in the lineup last week.
Yes.
Right. I don't think it was a big coincidence that all of a sudden the offensive line looked like a pretty good unit with JPJ back out there. I don't think it was a coincidence when he's going out there hitting people and hitting anything and just trying to set that tone, that the physicality was there on the offensive line that really technically hasn't been there so far this year. Like, that's not a coincidence. So I understand what they're saying. I understand what they're trying to do. There probably is a better way of going about doing it where he doesn't feel like it's just him on an island and he's the only one that has to compete, because that's what it seems like right now. And it even seems like, if one of us brings up JPJ in a press conference, it's almost like, the coach is almost like, oh, here we go again. They're going to bring up their guy. Like, this is the fans guy, so we got to talk about the fans guy. It's kind of like the sense that I get. And again, nobody has said that, but it's just kind of the sense that I get is that he's such a fan favorite that they get tired of talking about him and trying to give him a lot of props. But there's a lot of different reasons for him. And again, that's just the sense I get. I don't know. We'll see
No,
how
I
it
get that
plays out.
same sense, man. I get
Yeah,
that same sense. It seems
yeah,
like they're like low key annoyed,
yeah,
but it's funny to me because look, I go all the way back. I remember when Pete Carroll was the coach of the Jets because
yeah,
I'm from New Jersey, so
yeah.
I remember when Pete Carroll was the coach of the Patriots, and I'm a little surprised because the New York media, you guys, like, I'm going to be honest with you, the beat writers and all of the people who are in the peanut gallery when they're asking questions during Raider press conferences. The Raiders have some great reporters from Vinny B, Levi, all you guys. You guys do a great job. But you guys are very, very respectful. It's
Right,
not like in New York where you have like the rank and file guys from the Post and the New York Daily
right,
News, and then you have these people who just ask these crazy questions and they're
right.
super disrespectful. So
Yep.
I'm like, that's like putting skin thin to me. Like you
Oh
gotta
yeah.
ask about JPJ. So I'm a little surprised about how annoyed they kind of get about that. But Q, getting into that, right? Like the Raiders are in a situation now where we didn't really know exactly what they were going to be, right? And I heard you give kind of your assessment of where you thought the team was going to go, and it was very similar to how I feel about this team. It's a 4-13 team,
Yeah.
from last year, right? So I'm not expecting for them to get to the Super Bowl. What I was expecting is for them to build a foundation of positivity going forward, kind of build the foundation to build off of between the next 2 years, because we all know that Pete Carroll, even though he has a lot of energy, he's very youthful. He's here for a good time, not a long time. It's not
Right.
like, we're
Right.
going to look for him to be here for 10 years, right? And they're not trying to, so to speak, just do a slow build. They
Right.
want to kind of build a foundation and get off to the winning, right?
They want to do both at the same time.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's not
hard.
really the easiest thing to do, but that's what they're trying to do. Is they want to win right now. Pete Carroll's not interested in 3, 4, 5 year build. He wants to try to build it up right now, but at the same time win a bunch of games. So it's a tough task sometimes to do.
It is, and I noticed that now we're getting into a situation that I don't think that this coaching staff wanted to be in. A lot of the draft picks and the rookies that they kind of wanted to put on ice and bring along slowly to kind of debut them next year. These guys are having to play now. Darian Porter and Charles Grant.
Yeah.
What do you make about the Stone Forsythe Charles Grant situation? I know that Stone Forsythe is someone that they brought from Seattle.
Yeah.
I remember, him when he was at the University of Florida. He has not played the best in the National Football League.
Right.
I think there's a distinct possibility we might see Charles Grant. How close to that do you see the Raiders getting?
I think you're going to see Charles Grant, but I think you're going to see him in packages. I think you're going to see him like we used to see Thayer Munford come in as the extra tackle, right? And he'd be the tackle eligible and help out. I don't think you're going to see him out there on an island as the starting left tackle. That's going to be Stone Forsythe for sure. But he has to step up, and he hasn't been very good in the National Football League, but he is a guy that they're very familiar with. And, he was asked in the locker room, we asked him, how comfortable are you? How quickly can you get on the same page? And he told us straight up, like, hey, I've been in the system for 3 years, which is fine. That sounds good. But you haven't been working with Dylan Parham for 3 years. You haven't been working with Jordan Meredith for 3 years. You haven't been working with JPJ. You haven't been working with Chip Kelly. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you could be in the system, quote unquote, but you're not really in the system. You're not working with the guys. I mean, the one thing we know about the offensive line is it's one band, one sound, right? I mean, it's not like being a corner. I could be a corner and I could be really stinking good, get traded to another team and go out there and fill a role. But you can't be an offensive lineman and step in and just all of a sudden hold it down without any kind of reps with the other guy next to you, which it was on display. We saw that against the Bears, right? The first play that he comes in, he goes left, and Dylan Parham goes right. And there leaves a big gap right there. The communication wasn't there. So I asked him, I said, well, is it physical or is it communication? He said, well, our communication is great. Well, that play didn't tell me it was great, right? That play didn't tell me your communication was great. So I get it. I don't want any player that's ever going to have to get put into a role say, yeah, Q, I don't think this is big. I don't know. I don't think I'm big enough for this. I don't think I'm ready for this. It's going to be too much. I'm not going to be ready. Like, they're not supposed to say that. But reality is it's going to be they can only do it with reps. There's no way that you can get on the same page and even in practice, you could practice all week long, but the practice is you're not physical. It's not padded. Right, you're limited certain amount of hours. Like you can't do it. You
Yeah.
literally can only do it in game sessions. So it's gonna be a growing process. And so that's why I think that you're gonna see Charles Grant, who I don't believe is ready to be a left tackle yet. I think he's gonna take a while.
I don't either. I think he has to put on a little bit more weight. He
I
kind of
think they prefer to have him not play till next year. But here's the situation, right? Now you're stuck in this situation with Colton Miller being out. So I think that you're going to see him come in that Thayer Munford role, play that 6 offensive lineman.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the Raiders kind of transition, right? Because Geno Smith's been turning the football over, and they're gonna have to they're going to have to try to find a way to kind of slow things down. This has to be a defensive led football team. But and on the offensive side of the football, they need to start leaning on Ashton Jeanty. He needs to be the featured player because of the simple fact that we have a very, very small room for error, no margin for error, to be honest with you. And it was that way going into the season, right? Like the one thing about the Raiders that I saw was we have a lot of decent front end starting talent, but not a whole lot of depth. And now the depth is being eroded, and now we're in kind of like a walking wounded situation. Now, with them bringing in Grant, right? I always saw Grant as the body type of DeBrickashaw Ferguson from the Jets back.
Okay.
And DeBrickashaw Ferguson, when he first came into the league, he's a first round pick. It's a little bit different pedigree, right? But when he first came into the league, it was always said that he had to put on a little bit more weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that from Charles Grant. But what I see from him, I love his feet. He can move, like from a physical standpoint, I think he is going to be a decent. I don't know whether he's going to be a right tackle, whether he's going to be a left tackle. I don't know at this point. And he comes from a small school, so there's always kind of those, there's those doubts when you talk about a guy coming from a small school. But I really want to see the Raiders start playing all of these guys because and most people throughout the league, when you draft people in the third, fourth round, these are not, people think those are low round picks. Those are not low round picks. Matt Crosby was taken in the fourth round, right?
Yep.
So I want to see Darian Porter play more. I'm almost low key glad that we're getting a chance to see this draft class to kind of surmise what we have in the future. I wanted to ask you, Geno Smith. And now Geno has been a turnover machine the last few years.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to kind of bring that veteran presence so that we can hit the ground running. If Geno doesn't turn that around, do you see the Raiders start transitioning towards trying to bring in a younger quarterback in this draft class coming up? Because this is a draft class, from what we can see, you're probably going to have about 4 to 5 quarterbacks at the top end of the draft.
Yeah, I think they need to do that anyway, regardless. Even if Geno's playing good, I think they need to do that. I mean, we know just like what you said about Pete Carroll, he's here for a good time, not a long time. Geno Smith is here for a good time as well. He's not here for 5, 6, 7 years. Yeah. I mean, he's a guy who's got a couple years on his deal. 3 years if he maxes it all out? I don't see him being around longer than that. And honestly, I especially off the early results, don't know if you want him around that long, to be honest. I mean, he's not playing well. He's been given an opportunity where this is not Russell Wilson's team, it's his team. They didn't go draft a guy early in the draft this past year to sit behind him and have all the fans yell and scream when Geno has a bad game to get this young kid in, like they did in New York with the Giants, right? I mean, you heard everyone booing Russell Wilson immediately. As soon as he started to stink it up, they started booing the hell out of him. And that's not the decision and the reason why Brian Daboll went with Jackson Dart, but it's just one of those things you really don't need. You don't need to have your fan base divided. And I think this fan base of all knows about a fan base divided. Don't need to have that, right? Everyone needs to be, have Geno Smith's back. But at some point, they do have to find their franchise quarterback. I think it would be bad practice if they don't go into the draft this year and look for their guy. I thought they were going to do it last year and they didn't do it. So you have to at some point. He's not going to be the guy that's going to compete with the likes of Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and Bo Nix for years to come. Like I said, he can compete right now, and that's fine. He can help you win some games. I don't doubt that at all. I think there's a lot better play in Geno than what we've seen so far. But I think reality is it's what it is. He's 34, 35, and he's not going to be around for a long time. So, yeah, you've got to go and figure out who your starting quarterback is going to be for the long term sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it has to. I mean, when you get a guy that's a middle of the road or a bottom third guy, and I would put Geno Smith as a top 15 to 12 guy, right?
Yeah.
There are those ebbs and flows. And that's the difference between you being a top 5 guy like a Mahomes. Mahomes is always just a straight line of excellence. With guys that are middle of the road guys, you have those peaks and you have those valleys. And right now we're in a valley, right?
Yeah.
I think that part and parcel of one of the reasons, because I know you're a longtime Raider fan.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why, I particularly, I'm a fan of what you do, because, listen, I understand in sports media, you have to cover the people who give you a job, right?
Right.
But it's very rare that you have someone that is an actual fan of the team that is covering said team. And that's the unique part of what's happening with you and the Raiders. And I know, going back, because we're probably around the same age, we haven't drafted a quarterback in the first round since Russell. And then before that, it was Todd Marino.
And that didn't work out very well.
No, not at all. Not at all. You know what's crazy? My oldest daughter is at Spelman University, college now, right? And I brought her home in a Jamarcus Russell jersey. I thought Jamarcus was going to be the one, man. It's embarrassing to see her in those pictures.
We all thought he was going to be the one, and the ones that say that they didn't, they're all lying, man. Everyone thought Jamarcus was going to be the dude. He could throw the ball 70 yards from a knee. We all fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, and even now. And obviously it didn't work out. So there's that.
Mel Kiper Jr. He goes, I think he's more Peyton Manning than Michael Vick. And I'm like, oh my God, come on. What are we doing? Well, but it never worked out that way.
Right.
So, I think part and parcel of the reason why the Raiders have been in the situation we've been in the last 20 years is because we have not invested in a quarterback in a real way. And I hope that having Brady in the building and him being in the ears of a lot of people will change that.
Yeah.
Since you've been around the organization, right, have you had a chance to really see the effects of Tom in the building? Does it I think a little bit much is made of it because of his schedule being a broadcaster and all the other businesses he's a part of. I don't think that Tom Brady's in the building every single day, but have you seen any positive gains from him being involved with the Raiders since he's been here? From your purview of you being around the building?
Yeah, just from what I see is just the credibility he's given the organization, just because he's got his name attached to it. Because Tom Brady doesn't do anything that's not trying to win, not trying to be the best. We all know how he is a perfectionist. I've rarely seen him. I saw him one day at the facility when he was in the lobby and he was being greeted and everyone was treating him like Jesus returned. And it was pretty cool to see, but I was just walking by. And then I ran into him at Allegiant Stadium on that Monday Night Football game, week 2 against the Chargers. I'm in the elevator. I'm talking to the guy who's the elevator attendant, this guy, Percy. He's really cool. So me and here, we're like this. We're popping it up, back and forth. We're talking, having a good old time. I look this way, and I was like, oh, hey, what's happening? Tom Brady right in front of me. He's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, hey, I'm good. And then all of a sudden he got off the elevator. I was like, damn, man, I'm up here talking to you. I could have been up here talking to Tom Brady. What am I doing? So, yeah.
I mean, you know what, bro? What are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do? Like, listen, you're going to see him again. And you know what? I think when you're in this business and you run into these people, you can't fan out. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I just was like, that's cool that Tom Brady was there. Like, I wasn't going to fan out, but it was one of those things that I could have, asked him a couple questions. Like, the only thing I said to him was, hey, how you doing? And then, hey, man, congratulations on your flag football thing. Like, that was it. But if I had seen him there ahead of time, I mean, I could have had small talk.
Dialed it up, right? No, I get it.
Like everybody else, man. But it is what it is. Like you said, I'll run into him at some point, I guess. And
you definitely will.
We'll go from there.
You definitely will, man. You're one of the voices of the Raiders. There's no way he can avoid having an interaction with you guys over there Locked On. What I love about your podcast and you and Lincoln and all you guys. It's information, not affirmation. Right. Like when you have a pod about a particular team, sometimes people stay away from the ugly pixel and the pretty picture, but you guys don't do that. And I want to give you that respect, man. I love how Lincoln and you guys are always, if nothing else, factual. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I wanted to give you guys that respect. Really quickly, is there any move that you see the Raiders making in season before the trade deadline? Like, do you see them moving on from people? And I know that's probably record based, right? If they can start trending more towards 500, it's probably a record based scenario. But is there any person that you could see them bringing in, i.e., like a Tariq Woolen or someone like that?
I can see Reek because he had that relationship with Pete Carroll. Like anyone that has a Pete Carroll tie, I can see them wanting to bring in. But the thing is, John Spytek, and this is the dynamic that I don't know exactly, like what the conversations are like. Obviously, I'm not sitting there between Pete Carroll and John Spytek, but I know John Spytek comes from Tampa Bay where they love their draft picks and they love to draft and develop. I know this. And I know Pete Carroll wants to win. So he wants to bring in some veterans right now to help him win. So I'm trying to figure out the yin and the yang. How much of the youth do you put out there? How much of the veterans do you like? I'll give you an example. Amari Cooper. I never thought Amari Cooper needed to be signed. I didn't think that the Raiders needed a veteran wide receiver. But I know Pete Carroll wanted a veteran wide receiver to help them get where they needed to be. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't want to necessarily rely on the younger dudes to step up immediately, like allow them to develop and then go to them, which is not a bad thing, allowing these young guys to develop. Like, and he's always been willing to play young players if need be, but he also wants to win. So he's trying to find kind of that middle even. And I don't know how much John Spytek is like, hey, let's just draft these guys and let them go play immediately. Right. Yeah. So you bring up like Darian Porter and, you know, and he's only not playing. And I think he'll get to play because I don't know if Eric Stokes is going to go on Sunday, but
DCam will probably be playing as well too, because DCam.
Yeah, and he's been trending backwards. You know, he started doing really well in training camp, and he started trending backwards. So I don't know how effective DCam is going to be, but you know, Caillou Blue Kelly started playing well, and then he started to trend the wrong way, and so I thought that Darian was going to get in for him, but then Stokes gets injured, and Stokes is low key having a really good season, right? He's been actually doing really well, but the story of his career so far has been injuries, and here we go again. Now he's injured, so kind of the same old, same old. So there's a fine line between how much you're pushing the young guys to play so they can get those reps and get those, you know, and get some experience under their belt, and how much you are making it calculated so you still have an opportunity to win with the veterans that you have. So I guess the way to answer your question is, if they keep losing, I mean, if 3-game losing streak turns into a 6-game losing streak, turns into whatever, I could see them, you know, with the contract situation with Jacoby, I could see them moving him, right? If a team wants him and decides that they, you know, need that wide receiver to help them get over the hump or whatever, I can see them moving him. Not that I want them to. I think that he's such an underrated player on this Raiders team, but you know, there's a contract situation going on there, and so, you know, we'll see what happens there. I don't know how much they're going to be like interested in going out and getting players though, because again, John Spytek has made it perfectly clear that he loves his draft capital. So it's kind of like I said, it's kind of like a
double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword.
Like, do you really want to give up your draft capital? Is that Tariq Woolen really worth giving up whatever pick it would be, or do you want to just wait till the draft and go get your own Tariq Woolen? You know what I mean?
It depends. It depends, because if it's like a 5th or 6th or 7th, something like that, the Raiders have some compensatory picks coming back to them.
Yep.
So for me, okay, if it's a 5th, it's very rare that a person at that's a 5th round pick, and I think Tariq Woolen was like a 5th round pick, is going to turn out to be as good as Tariq Woolen, right? So there's that part of it. But see, this is the thing for me, right? When you talk about what Pete Carroll's trying to do and what he was trying to do with Amari Cooper and things like that, I kind of agree with bringing in a vet, because I think the problem that you're having with the Dante Thorntons of the world and guys like that is that you don't have that vet to kind of show them what good looks like. When Devontae Adams was in the building, I think Devontae Adams is one of the reasons why Trey Tucker is playing the way that he's playing, because Devontae worked with him and showed him how to get off on the line of scrimmage and release points and define parts of the game. You know, all of these young guys have a prerequisite amount of talent. And, you know, guys like Dante Thornton, they have a lot of, the ceiling is high. You need that vet to show you what it looks like.
You know who really did that, though? Jacoby. Jacoby's the one who did that. Devontae even said he learned a lot from Jacoby on how to get open. That's the funny thing. Like, I know a lot of people believe that Devontae did all this great stuff to help out the team. It was really Jacoby that did a lot of work.
Really?
Jacoby, and I've been there at practice when Jacoby stays over and is working with Dante and working with Trey and working with Jack and showing them swim moves off the line of scrimmage and showing them footwork and, you know, taking his helmet off and taking his pads off, then like, oh, wait, hold on, let's get back at it, and going back at it. You know what I mean? So, like, he's the guy who's staying after practice. He's the guy who's showing.
So we already got that guy in the building already.
He's been in the building. That's what I'm saying. He's been there. He's been doing that. The only thing about him is everyone looks at him and says, well, that's a wide receiver 2. It's not your wide receiver 1, which is fine because Brock Bowers is your number 1 target. But all Jacoby does is make wide receiver 1 catches. He might be wide receiver 2, but he makes wide receiver 1 catches. And it's funny. I'll tell you a quick story is during training camp, you know, there's a lot of different people that'll come through and watch the practice or whatever. And so Kadri Ishmael, you know, the Rockets' brother, he was there one day, and that's when his son Kadir was still on the Raiders, and so he was there to watch his son. So me and him became pretty close. So we're standing there watching practice, and every time Jacoby made a catch, he kept looking at me and hit me and say, "All right, Q, that's your number 2 guy, right? I was like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, he's just making number 1 catches. And that's all he kept saying to me every single time. He's like, there you go. There goes that guy again. The guy you guys call Q number 2. He's making number 1 catches. He's like, Q, you guys have no idea how valuable that dude is. So he like really schooled me on how valuable Jacoby Myers is. And he's like, look at how he's running the route. Look how he's finishing the block. Look how he's doing it. That stuff that wide receiver ones do. He just don't got the wide receiver 1 name. He's not getting that respect, but that's who he is, wide receiver 1. And I promise you, it was about 8 practices that I stood next to him, just elbow to elbow, and all we did is chop it up about everything that he was seeing from a former player, guy with a Super Bowl ring, a guy who's been there, done that, got a family lineage of football players telling me this. And so I'm always that guy. This is the one thing I always tell everyone. I ain't got to be the smartest dude in the room, but I'm also the dude that's willing to listen. So if a guy is willing to pour into me that kind of knowledge, and Lincoln does the same thing, he'll stand next to me at practice and hey, I just saw this. I just saw that. See that right there? This is what you're looking for. Eric Allen, same thing. So for me to be in the position where I can soak in what these guys are telling me, and I can come back and try to relay it the best I know how to anyone else that's willing to listen, that's where my advantage comes in. And that's where I feel like I'm able to pour in a lot of knowledge to other people, because I'm hearing it directly from the guys that have been there, done that in the trenches. That's where it comes off, and it makes me feel good about what I do.
Yes, sir, man. I mean, real quick, I know you got to run. Give me a couple of ways that you see the Raiders being able to get a W tomorrow. Look, we know that's going to be a rough road. I never like to bring negativity when it comes to the Raiders. I'm always trying. I believe energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It just transmutes.
Yeah.
We want to transmute some positivity to Raiders. How do you see the Raiders picking up a dub tomorrow?
Well, they've got to stop the run first, right? And that's the good thing about this Raiders team is you look at their defense, it's built to stop the run. That's why you have an Landon Roberts, who, oh, by the way, is another wealth of knowledge. Jermaine Pratt, who's not going to play tomorrow. He didn't even travel, so there's that. But Devin White, he's been playing really good ball. And think about this, man, and I don't mean to take too much time, but look, Devin White, he's a guy that's on the Raiders on a 1-year deal that had no guaranteed money. Right. And he's out there trying to be an absolute leader, and he is flying around the field, and he's doing everything he can. And he's in that locker room, and he's pumping and promoting. And you know what I mean? And like, he's keeping
bought in. He's 100% bought in.
He's all the way bought in. And this dude is on probably the least amount of money contract. I mean, if you go and look through all the salaries that the Raiders are making, he's probably one of the very lowest ones. Right. I mean, he's not top anything when it comes to his salary, but he's out there playing like he's a top 10 paid guy. Right. I mean, that's to me, when you see guys flying around, busting their backside, doing everything that they have, doing the right thing, and they know that they're not making a ton of money, and they know that, hey, this is for the big picture. Like Devin told me, John Spytek is family. He's like, when John Spytek arrived here, I knew I was good. Like I was going to come here and be with him and appreciate and embrace that opportunity, whatever opportunity it was. If they wanted me to play one down or every down, I was going to do it, because he's always treated me like family. It's a mutual respect, and I'm gonna give everything I got. When he told me then in training camp, when I sat down with him for 4 or 5 minutes, I was like, okay, I get it. I understand the big picture now. So that was from him. So he's a guy that is helping out in that linebacking room. Jamal Adams, right, with that relationship with Pete Carroll, comes over, right, switches positions, which I think is better for him anyway. I mean, he's always been better.
He's essentially been a linebacker.
He's been a linebacker his whole career, right? He just was classified as a safety. So yeah, he's in a good position, but those guys are built to stop the run. The defensive line is built to stop the run. Thomas Booker, that's why you go make the move for him. He's a guy that can help stop the run, right? Then you do that and try to make them one-dimensional. That's going to give you an opportunity. The thing that the Colts try to do, and if you go back and look at all the games they've played so far, they pass the score in the first half, and then they run to win in the second half. So Jonathan Taylor has the bulk of his carries in the second half. But if you could slow it down early, even when he does get carries, and slow him down and not allow that play action pass to be effective, because they run play action more than any other team in the league. If you stop that from being effective early, you're going to give yourself a chance, right? I mean, they score a lot of points, so this defense is going to have their work cut out for them. But we saw what their defense was able to do last week against Chicago, and I feel like that they have an opportunity to continue to build off what they did. I think that this defense is playing good. The secondary is definitely a little questionable, so we'll have to pay attention to what that is. But if you can make them one-dimensional, if you can make Jonathan Taylor less effective, because you're not going to stop him completely, but if you make him less effective, you're going to give yourself a chance. And then offensively, man, you got to get Ashton Jeanty involved with the ball. 25 cut touches, that would be good. I don't care if it's 20 carries and 5 catches. I don't care, but he needs to get about 25 touches. He's obviously very effective. Problem is the offensive line now is compromised with Colton Miller being down, and the majority of his good runs last week were to the left side. So how do they adjust? How are they going to make up for that? That's going to be on Chip Kelly, right? How is he going to be able to design a plan to get the ball out of Geno's hands quickly, right? I'd love to see some screen passes. Like, I don't think that screen passes are in the Raiders' DNA. Like, I don't understand why they don't run a screen pass. I don't understand why they don't have some quick outs to the back, out of the backfield. I don't understand it. Some pitches, whatever. Do something to get a little bit creative. But when Genty gets the ball, he's a playmaker. You're probably not going to have Brock. You're not going to have Mike, right? Yeah. That's already two of your playmakers. You're going to have a heavy dose of Jacoby. Jack Best, you mentioned him earlier. I'm glad you mentioned Jack Best. I saw him at the at the facility. What was it, Thursday? I want to say it was Thursday. And I'm a big body language guy. I like to read people's body language and could kind of tell what kind of mood they're in or whatever. And he's always been super cool. But in the locker room, it seemed like he was taking a little bit longer to sit there and think and maybe pray or just meditate, whatever he does, right? Whatever it was, it seemed like he was taking a little bit longer than he normally does. It seemed like he was really a little bit more locked in. Then when they were in the stretching period of the practice, he was stretching and then he took a knee and looked like he was doing a little bit more praying, a little bit more meditation. To me, and this could be totally off base, but just from a guy that watches people and their mannerisms and everything, to me, it felt like someone told him he was going to be more involved in the offense.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
you know what I mean? This week you're going to get your opportunity. I know you wanted to get more chances. This week is the opportunity that you're going to get. I felt like someone might have said that to him. Now, we might see tomorrow he gets no targets and never gets in the game. Be like, oh, Q, you're wrong. Maybe.
I can't see that being the case. That we're down too many people. That he has to get those targets. And it's funny that we want to see screen passes now when Josh McDaniels. That's why I was laughing. Josh McDaniels said that's all we saw was screen passes. Yeah. We're getting pissed off, right? So it's always ham, no burger, peanut butter, no jelly with the Raiders. Right. It's crazy, man. Q, man. I appreciate you coming on, bro. I appreciate the insight. That's why I'm just letting you cook, brother, because that's what you do. I appreciate you, man. This has been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful hookup, man. And I hope, when you have some more time, man, that you would grace us with your presence again down here at Raider Nation Unlimited, brother. I appreciate you, man.
For sure, man. No, it's great. I'm glad we made it happen, man. I'm sorry it took so long to do it, but you can let everyone know that you've been on the grind, man. And I respect your grind and your hustle, and I see what you're doing. So keep making those moves, man. Keep on hustling. I got to shout out to my guy, Mikey the Barber, real quick. He hit me. He's from SAC. He said he's watching right now. He's like, man, you ain't going to shout me out. So when someone says that.
Yeah, Mikey, that's my guy, man. Salute to Mikey, man.
Yeah.
But Q, I appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you do, man. Everyone's watching. Trust and believe that.
All right, man. Yo, that was your boy Q, the great Q Myers, man. And listen, guys, we're gonna hang out for a little bit longer. Q got a jam-packed schedule. Want to make sure we get him on. And let's break the game down. Y'all got any questions? Let me get to some of the chats, guys. I wanted to make sure that we let Q do what he had to do, and we're gonna read some of these supers, man. Appreciate my guy Josie Bibara. Black Hole Banter Throwback. Salute to my guy. And salute to my brother, Big Mike Raider, man, with the 10 gifted Raider Nation Unlimited slappies, making it grow, making the Wasted Talent Army grow. Pause. I got to relax. By droves. Appreciate y'all, man. Yo, man. But listen, guys, what do y'all think, man? Oh, yo, and make sure y'all show some love to my brother, Big Mike Raider, man, and go over there and subscribe, too. With Brock out, I can see Best getting those looks. He's a great blocker as well. Yeah, I definitely can too. The thing is this, though. We have to temper our expectations for Jack Best. He is a rookie. He's a very good, sure-handed rookie, but he is not Brock Bowers. It's not Brock Bowers, and let's kind of calm it down a little bit. Look, what I want to see from Jack Best is I want to see 10, 11 targets. I want to see him be a guy that they look for on third down. And I'd also like to see him be a guy that can get out there and level some blocks and actually help Ashton Genty get off, in the running game. Because, look, it's going to be a tall order for this Raider running game. Colton Miller is the linchpin for this football team up front. He has been for a very, very long time, man. And we have not really seen a Raider team without Colton Miller being on that left side. He hasn't missed very many games, man. And it's really heartbreaking to see what's happening with Colton Miller. The one good thing is that I'm just glad that Colton Miller got his money because he deserved it, man. And I'm glad that the Raiders took care of him because look at the situation he's in now. Had they not taken care of him, he would be up the creek without a paddle, man. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't expect to see Colton Miller for the rest of the season. I don't. There are a lot of people who say, man, you know, after the 4 games, he might be back. 5, 6, whatever, right? I just am always leery of a guy that is a big man like that has a lower extremity injury. When you have those big fellas, man, a lot of times it takes a lot longer for that situation to heal. But salute to everybody in the chat. Yo, salute to the almost 300 of y'all in the room. I know this is a Saturday afternoon. You guys have so many things to do. And if you're here with me, man, I appreciate it. You know, we normally have a bigger turnout here in Raider Nation Unlimited, but y'all going to catch it in, listen, either you wash it in the wash or you wash it in the rinse, man. So appreciate y'all, man. But yo, my guy Big Mike, man, in the place, man. I like Spillane. I like when he gets the bag with the Patriots. You know, listen, man, he's no longer here. We don't give a damn. My guy Solly's in the place to be, man. Yo, I'm ready to go, bro. Next guy up to protect Geno. No worries. Listen, this is the thing, man. I think, like Q spoke about, they're going to have to send somebody over on the other side and slide some protection over there to help Stone Forsythe. The one thing about Stone Forsythe is he definitely is an imposing presence over there on the left side of the football field. You know, hopefully he's one of these guys who play a lot better on the left side of the field than he does on the right, because he played predominantly right tackle last year. He had like 413 snaps at right tackle for the Seattle Seahawks. He did not play very well. Also, Tommy Eichenberg tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a Tommy Eichenberg special. He's normally on special teams. With Jermaine Pratt not playing, expect to see a lot of Tommy Eichenberg tomorrow. He's a guy that during preseason, I was excited to see him kind of step into a role where he was playing a lot. I was. But listen, man, we have to kind of temper our expectations with a lot of these young fellas. I'm just glad that we're getting to see what we have in the locker room, man. Salute to my dog, Ready Divine. He said, wasted that hoodie is fine. Appreciate you, bro. You know, listen, I always got to try to bring the heat, brother. My guy, Boomcat, wasted. Do you foresee Genty getting more than 20 carries a week? 100%. I think this is going to be a situation where this is going to be an Emmitt Smith game. If you guys are old enough to remember when Emmitt Smith was on the Cowboys, right? This is going to be a situation where he gets 25 carries or better. They're going to have to. They're going to have to. You know, you have to do that to kind of, especially with like a lot of draw plays and things of that nature, to kind of keep the pass rush on his heels so they can't pin their ears back and take advantage of that young tackle on the left side of the football. Salute to my guy, All Aboard Raiders. Tell me who to start in fantasy tomorrow. Beck or Thornton? Bash or Thornton? You know, just from the big play perspective, right? Dante Thornton. Now, if you're in a PPR league, I would start Jack Besh because I think Jack Besh is going to get more targets than Dante Thornton. I think, you know, some of the routes that he runs, he's not a deep threat. And, you know, I think Geno's going to have to dink and dunk a lot because of the protection. So I would probably go with Jack Besh. You know, a lot of the stuff that goes on with Dante Thornton is he's a guy who they're looking to get the ball down deep to him, right? They're looking to throw the ball long. I don't think Geno's going to have enough time to do that initially in the game. I think Jack Besh is what's going to be a guy that's going to keep him on their heels. So I will probably start Jack Besh, especially if it's a PPR league. Oh, my God. Salute to y'all, man. Bases loaded, 0 out. Judges at bat, swing and a strikeout. Listen, you bum. We had a great professional show, and you're about to get yourself blocked, God families in football. Don't you come here slandering the damn Yankees, you bum. Effing bum. Coming up here with your crap. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Get wasted with your brother Wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Hey, guys, tomorrow morning, we will be having Wake Up with Wasted. Last week, I was at work, but Wake Up with Wasted tomorrow with all your fantasy advice. Bodega is going to be blocked as well, man. Salute. Said F New York. F you. The F up out of here, man. Said this might be a game that forces Pete to run the ball like back in the Seattle days. That's what's probably going to happen. It's going to have to happen, bro. Like you can't really set anything up with this Raider offensive line being the way that it is unless you have a play action pass. You're not going to be able to have a situation where you're not throwing the football deep. You know what I mean? If you don't have a good running game, I'm telling you right now, man, I see the Raiders really, 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 really committing to the run. I see Raheem Mostert having a big game too tomorrow. I see Mostert having a terrific game tomorrow, man. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Oh my God, man. Well, I mean, so this is a freaking great show, man. A great show, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't wait till tomorrow too, man, because tomorrow kind of shows us how the Raiders are gonna proceed forward for the rest of the year, right? You know, this Indianapolis Colts team is a team that has a lot of talent on it, bro, especially on the offensive side of the ball, right? It's more so for me. I want to see how this Raider offensive line holds up because the Colts have a pretty decent defensive line. They just don't have an assortment of pass rushers, right? So I want to see how they hold up. Can they keep Geno upright? And can Geno turn it around from turning the football over? You know, turning the football over has been the bane of the Raiders' existence. And to me, I really believe the Raiders should be 3-1. I really do. This is something that the Raiders have to figure out going forward. They have no room for error, man. My guy CGR in the place to be. Geno needs to stop putting us in a hole first play of the game. If he throws 3 picks, it's backup time. And listen, I'm pretty sure that Pete Carroll has kind of alluded to that. Pete Carroll has been defending Geno because he has a lot of loyalty to Geno. But I from what I've heard from the back channels is that Pete has been taking him to task, right? Look, this is the thing about football, right? And I think my guy Mo Moten had posted this today, right? He talked about what Bill Belichick used to say. Yo, ball security is job security. If you don't take care of the football, you will not have a job in the National Football League, especially the person who touches the football more than anybody on the field is in the quarterback. My guy, Pessimistic Frank with the $2 slappy. So much talent, we getting smacked. My bad, bruh. Listen, if we do, right? But the most important thing is that, the Raiders play a competitive game so that, trending towards the middle of the season, they start to turn things around and pick up a couple dubs. Like, I see the Raiders, because this is a new regime, they have some new players, there's a new scheme. I saw the Raiders struggling early anyhow, right? I saw this being a really tough stretch for the Raiders, and I see the Raiders starting to kind of trend towards picking up some wins, winning some divisional games that they don't expect to win, or people don't expect them to win. The Raiders probably always expect to win, right? And I see the Raiders kind of trending in a direction where they're like 7-10, you know what I'm saying? Like not 8-9, that kind of direction, right? I don't see the Raiders being world beaters this season, but I do see them crafting together a season that's respectable. Salute to my guy CGR gifting 10 Raider Nation Unlimited memberships to the masses, man. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you, man. And shout out to my dog, God Family of Football. Next box of cleanups for your tears after the spankies go down is on me, brother. Oh, don't you talk about anything about going down and anything being on you. You get the F up out of here with your crap, God Family of Football. My dog, Space Beat. Difference in wasting and grabbing show is no booger. Oh, yeah. Salute, bro. Salute, man. Yo, said me and Anthony never get memberships. It's crazy. We are shadow banned for the membership. You definitely are shadow banned, you bums. Anthony doesn't, he don't even want a membership. What are you talking about, man? You're my guy, Solomon Mitchell. I see the Raiders make a second half season push. It's coming late on a win streak. I also see the Raiders unloading some of their talent too. I see John Spytek, trying to pick up some players, and I'm not players, but pick up some draft picks. I see the Raiders going big from an organization standpoint in free agency. And I see them trying to flip this roster in the draft too. I see the Raiders really, really going big this year from that perspective. But, I think the Raiders are going to be a huge player in the free agent market based off of all the money they have this year. And also the fact that there's a lot of cap penalties coming off. And then, you know, there's a ton of compensatory picks that the Raiders are in line to get as well. Wasted. The Commanders ran all over this defense. Was that an outlier game, or do you think Jay Taylor gets off? Listen, Jay Taylor always gets off on the Raiders, right? It's up to the guys up front. Now, I don't know whether it was an outlier, but what I do know is that the Raiders were in a 1 o'clock game coming off of, you know, limited rest, a week with really no practice, no hitting. You know, I just think that was just a perfect storm for the Raiders to have a really tough day against the run, man. So I don't necessarily see it that way, man. Yo, my guy Pessimistic Frank with the $2 slappy, man. 5W, no line, no wins, need draft picks. I can see it, bro. I can see it. You go after YouTube membership algorithm. Well, listen, bro. Listen. Bro, you guys say that y'all the Great Out gang. Y'all don't want to be part of the wasted talent army, man. This is what you guys have told me. I think that Demote shadow banned you, to be honest with you. I think CGR shadow banned you, and they should, because you're a bum, Bodega. Nobody needs you here with your crap. Salute, y'all. Y'all get y'all questions in. We almost at an hour. We're gonna wrap this thing up, man. I got some things I gotta attend to, man. But salute to everybody in the chat. And yo, tomorrow morning, wake up with Wasted. And you guys know, as always, I'm gonna do the post-game show after the show, man. You know what I'm saying? My Yanks is on. We got some things to do, man. We got some things to do. So y'all do me a favor, get your questions in. We're gonna be on for another like 10, man. Unceremoniously Bodega. And yo, make sure you hit that subscribe button too, man. So guys, what do y'all think about the crossover episode with Q, man? What do y'all think, man? Salute to everybody out there, man. Now listen, real quick, man. I wanted to go over some of the things from the injury report. You know, Michael Mayer will not be playing tomorrow. Brock Bowers is looking like he will not be playing. Eric Stokes is questionable. They have not given the word on Eric Stokes, but to be honest with you, if it is a hamstring or something like that, I prefer for him to sit. DeCameron Richardson has been a full participant. He's taken a couple of steps forward. I think you'll see him tomorrow. When you start talking about Indianapolis, you know, they have a multitude of injuries, right? And they also have Xavier Howard retiring suddenly, man. And this is a guy that a lot of us wanted to be on the Raiders, man. I mean, thank God we didn't go out there and get him, right? You know, Xavier Howard, man, just retired, man. He ain't had that fire anymore. It's crazy. I mean, what is it about the Colts where people go there and just decide they don't want to play no more? Didn't Vontae Davis stop playing when he was with the Colts? I don't necessarily remember. Yo, y'all gotta jog. Was he with the Colts when Vontae Davis retired? Yeah, I don't even remember, man. But yeah, tomorrow, man, it's gonna be a tough one, man. It is definitely gonna be a tough one tomorrow, man. You know, and I just, for me, man, I want to see competitive football, man. Win, lose, or draw. I always want the Raiders to win, but I'm a realist, man. The Raiders are up against them, and they're gonna have to figure some things out with a Colts team that is super talented, man, and in a situation where we definitely have some deficiencies on his roster. Salute to my dog, David Walker, man, Newark's very own David Walker, man. Salute to my guy, man. Appreciate you, bro, for the $5 holler, man. My guy, Big Mike, he says, you and Q need to, he said, you and Q needs to be a regular on the show, on the audio part. Oh, that'll be great, man. But, you know, he you know, listen, man, you know how that go, bro. You know how that go, man. I appreciate that, bro. Said, love seeing you expand your platform. Well deserved. Appreciate you guys, man. How's the Colts defense? Have not paid. The Colts defense is a middle of the road defense. You know what I mean? But they have some talent, man. They have some talent, man. You got Eric Armstead on them guys over there. I mean, so, you know, the Colts defense has been okay, man. They have been okay. They're right in the middle, man. They're ranked 15th, right? They allow 21.4 points a game. You know, they have some talent over there. They just don't, you know, really rush the passer particularly well. But in every other metric, the Colts defense is not, you know, they're not bad, right? You know, they allow, you know, 223 yards a game. That's 21st in the NFL. And, you know, their pass defense is okay. You know, their total defense is 17. They kind of fell a little bit. But, you know, the Colts are a decent team, but the problem is it's really not that defense. It's more so how the Raiders execute. And if Geno Smith cannot turn a damn football over. I mean, if you're turning the ball over I mean, it could be, you could definitely have a basic defense or a middle of the road defense or even a bad defense. But if you're giving them the football, you can make a bad defense look excellent. And that's the thing, man. A lot of the stuff that's been going on with Geno is, him just being careless with the ball. I mean, that's essentially what the crux of the Raiders' problems are going to be this week. Can Geno play better football? Can he play mistake-free football? You know what I'm saying? Can he play mistake-free football? Now, I wonder what I think the Colts got some addition by subtraction by Xavier Howard retiring, because Xavier Howard was not playing well for the Colts. He just really wasn't, man. If we win tomorrow, it's not going to be because we have one player or another. It's going to be because the scheme and execution as a whole is working. And I agree, right? But players have to make plays. The scheme doesn't make the players do, right? And I think that, this is going to have to be a defensive-led game. I think the Raiders are going to have to definitely stop Jonathan Taylor. That's job one. And the Raiders are going to have to kind of limit Daniel Jones in play action. Now, Daniel Jones in play action is dangerous because he can move, right? So you never know what he's going to do once he fakes that pitch and he drops back to throw that football. You don't know whether he's going to take off, right? I think one or two things is for certain. Max Crosby and his Raider defense is going to have to be able to rush 4 and drop 7, and they're going to have to be able to stop the run. And that's part and parcel to dialing up pressure from other places besides Max, dialing up pressure with Devin White, dialing up pressure with Jamal Adams, dialing up pressure through the middle with Jonah Lualu and T Book. I mean, that's pretty much what it's going to have to be. My guy, KD. What's up, my brother Wasted from the West Coast to the East Coast Raider? It's Raider Nation. You know what I'm saying? My man, appreciate you. Yeah, the Colts are a good football team, man. They are. The Colts are a good football team, man. And make no mistake about it. And, they have a terrific play caller. And see, that is the thing that the Raiders need to be careful of right now. This is a Patrick Graham special. He is going to have to make sure that he is calling a superior game. Listen, when you start talking about the head coach of the Colts, he's a quarterback whisperer, and he's a hell of a play caller. Hell of a play caller. My God, CGR, y'all are in the place to be. Be sure to tell a friend. I appreciate you, my dog. One of the safest routes are drag routes. Kelly needs to put away all the streaks, play calling, and he wastes downs and every count. No, listen, I think Chip Kelly is going to have to adapt. It's going to have to adapt to the situation he's in as the Raiders are down some significant pieces of his offense, right? I also think that Chip Kelly needs to adjust just from a play calling perspective of what he was at Ohio State to now what he is with the Raiders. Like, I can kind of see that going through this season, there's been a distinct almost gap with the way Chip Kelly has been calling plays. It's been very, very collegey. And I know collegey isn't a word, but it's been that way for me, man. And our special teams definitely, shout out to my guy Cisco Duarte, 100% right. Special teams has to bounce back, right? And I wonder what they are going to do up front, in the kicking game with, extra points and field goals, replacing Michael Mayer, because that has been really where Michael Mayer's value has been missed on special teams, right? If you look at why that kick got blocked last week, that was part and parcel to Michael Mayer being out and him not being in his position and Jonah Lualu getting beat. It's crazy. And I wonder if Jacob Bobermeyer does have a tell. I know Pete Carroll would never admit to it during the press conference. He's like, we didn't see anything. But I'm going to be honest with you. There has to be something, right? Because if you look, they almost blocked, extra points and stuff like that. So I don't think that the Bears were being untruthful in the fact that there is a tell, right? So how are the Raiders going to rectify that? Yeah, man. And salute to Mark Sanchez, man. I heard Mark Sanchez had got stabbed out there in Indianapolis. I don't know why anybody would do something like that to this guy, man. He's never bothered anybody. Good dude. You know what I mean? Salute to him. I heard he's in stable condition. Salute to Mark Sanchez, man. Hopefully he recovers, man. Prayers up to that man. Eddie Santos from the Bay. Doing my open houses, checking in. Need a buyer at $599K. LOL. Yo, my guy Eddie from the Bay is the real estate extraordinaire. If you guys are looking for property in the Bay Area, yo, salute to Eddie from the Bay. Reach out to the brother, man. Yeah, right. Speedy recoveries for Mark Sanchez, y'all. But y'all, we're at an hour. We're gonna be rocking back at y'all tomorrow morning. Me and my brother Big Mike Raider. The Wake Up Show. We're gonna be having our fantasy football advice. Y'all let me know if there's anything you guys need as far as from prop bets, fantasy advice. Put it in the inbox on Instagram. Put it in the inbox on X, wherever you guys follow Wasted Talent at, and we will prepare something for you tomorrow. We will be rocking before the game, and guess what? We will be on the rant line after the game as well, man. Salute, y'all. Salute. My guy Spider Mac. It looked like 3 Bears being covered by 1 guy on the kick. I seen the block before it happened. We blew it and had no timeout. Problem, why not fix? I know, bro. Sucks, man. But y'all, you guys, listen, man. Hold on. Appreciate you, my guy. Team Thompson Fishing, man. Look, we're going to get up out of here, y'all. Salute to everybody who watched. If you miss Q being on the show, go on back, watch the replay, leave the comments in the chat, man. Salute to everybody. We will be rocking all day tomorrow. Y'all, it has been a splendiferous occasion, man. I will see y'all tomorrow. We are out of here, man. And make sure y'all hit that subscribe button on the way out and pay your bar tabs, man. Oh my God, man. This has been an amazing show, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. We are out of here. See y'all tomorrow, man. Peace.